The mainstream media has basically blacked out the Twitter files. Only 14 minutes of combined coverage. So much for this fantastic feat of journalism they claim to do. Joining us for reaction on this, former Wisconsin governor and president of the Young America's Foundation, Governor Scott Walker. Sir, appreciate you being here.
Great to be with you. Yeah, that's surprising, no, but still outrageous that they don't spend more attention focused on Twittergate.
The irony here is they are literally covering suppression and lack of coverage by Twitter about journalists by not covering Twitter and journalists.
But this is so typical of so many in the corporate media. They only care about things that they think are important, not about being consistent. It's why, sadly, other than Newsmax and a handful of others, particularly on talk radio, there's only a few outlets out there that are trusted by so many in the general public. But this is just typical. I think we see it for what it is, and that is they do things to put forward their own agenda, their liberal indoctrination, and when it runs counter to that, they don't want to hear about it. And American people want a level playing field.
So let's play this game. If Donald Trump, and if he and his administration had worked with a private company or journalist or, to ban journalists going against his narrative, do you think the mainstream media would spend more than 14 minutes on it?
There would be editorials on the front of every newspaper in America for every day since that happened. I mean, they would be losing their mind over this. Yes. And yet they look like, oh, what's going on? We don't see this happening. It's not till the moment that Elon Musk makes a little bit of point. I think, you want to have the high ground. You want to have as much free speech, more free speech, not less. So even with these little tweaks out there, it's kind of funny to see the reaction. But the bottom line is this should be more, not less. But the handful of cases they're talking about compared to, my goodness, you had the leader of the free world being banned on Twitter. At the same time, you have the spokesperson for the Taliban and officials in Iran are still on Twitter. How can you justify that?
Yeah, that to me is banana. And they changed the rules. Donald Trump, they only had one strike. And they're like, no, we're just going to make new rules so we can ban what we don't like because of the purple-haired posse at Twitter. I want to talk about the essence of free speech, though, because the left is now screaming about free speech. It's so important. We need to make sure that, but, over the years, our institutions, our colleges, which many of which receive federal funding, right here, 15-year decline. More colleges have become hostile to free speech. How, Governor, are we supposed to foster the shaping of young minds in a vacuum devoid of any type of opposing opinion? Shouldn't this be the land where you can question everything?
Absolutely. And first and foremost, I should say, if you're a student or a student watching, if you're under attack, YAF's got your back. Go to yaf.org.
That is
true. We'll help support you against that suppression on campus. But Carl, you and I know the First Amendment, the very first thing they put into the Constitution guarantees the right for free speech, particularly on our public institutions. And yet it's most under attack on our colleges, where it should be the most revered. That's exactly why you send young people to college, to learn different things, to have their views tested and shaped and focused. You don't do it to indoctrinate them. People watching these videos the last few weeks in China and Iran think, how could that happen? Well, we see it moving closer and closer to that on college campuses more and more over the last few years. We've got to counter that. You want diversity on campus? Let's have diversity of thought, something that far too few campuses have across America.
Right, and that actually may help people in the workplace, too, when they actually have to debate the merits of their issues. Call me crazy, right?
Well, it's exactly right, and this is where we owe it. Our young people deserve to hear the full scope of things that are going on. The good news is we can break through. Oddly enough, one of the students I spoke to at Stanford University a few years ago for YAF was someone who you might be shocked to know is actually a conservative. That's Susan Rice's son, John, and that's because he got a chance to hear the truth. And when he did, he actually sided with us as conservatives.
Weird how that happens. Governor Scott Walker, we appreciate the fight you're doing.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
No crooked establishment.
None of that twisting the
truth.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think.
They let me decide.
Newsmax.
Real news
for real people.